Hey, welcome everyone. We are doing something really special today. I have the amazing Jen Gottlieb here with me, and we are doing a live podcast recording with a special guest audience. And we're here today to talk about stage leaders. She has it on her shirt for anyone that is listening to the audio afterwards. She's repping it. She's repping it. I'm so excited to have Jen here today. Actually, how this came about is that I was at a lunch a couple weeks ago with Jen and some others, and Jen started sharing like, hey, I'm doing this new thing. And, most of you guys that Jen, right? Like she is the leading female speaker in the US. She's on every stage and every lineup of everywhere that you could possibly want to be if you want to speak. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to launch this program and I'm going to help people, become stage leaders and do this thing. And I'm like, we need to talk, right? Because I don't teach speaking. You guys know I don't do a lot of stages because I've been really trying not to travel with raising Madison and being home and stuff like that. And I was talking to Jen afterwards, and I was like, hey, I'm like, I know I want to share this with my people, and I had a conversation with her, and afterwards I texted her and I said, you know what, I'm in. I'm doing it. I'm doing it because Maddie's homeschooling now. She can travel with me. It's time to get on stages. And the reason why I wanted to bring you guys in for this conversation today is one, I never keep anything. So if I find something awesome, I'm always going to share it with you guys right away. Number one. And Jen's the person, like the only person to deliver this and to do it the way that she's doing it. So Jen, I'm so excited you're here. Thanks for coming on.
This is so divine. I'm so grateful. Like, just to go full circle to when we first met on my podcast and we
Yeah.
didn't know each other. And I remember you walking in and I was like, I knew immediately. I'm like, this woman's going to be my friend. And I don't think it was a coincidence that we were both at that lunch together and that I had to leave early and you came late. And then
Yes.
we had the phone call. And it's just really amazing that we're sitting here today talking about stage leaders. And girl, I'm so excited for you to do it and for you to
Yeah.
start the stage. The world needs you. So
Yeah.
I'm thrilled
Yeah.
to share more. And hi guys, good to see you all. I love
For
being here.
sure. Yeah. And welcome to our live viewing audience today. I thought it would be fun to bring in some special people. Feel free to comment in the chat and you can ask questions. And if we can, we'll answer them. But yeah, so I wanted to bring Jen on today. A lot of you guys know Jen's story and you're probably aware of her brand. If you're not, she's everywhere. Her book is Be Seen. It's on the screen behind her there. But Jen, I really want to talk about, first of all, it's so cool that you're sending the elevator back down with this program because speaking is a business in and of itself, right? Like it's a little bit of a different animal. And it's just, there's nothing like it to add that pop of credibility and authority to your brand to kind of break out of the noise online with no barrier, So obviously you have a great story, but let's just talk for a moment about your motivation to open the floodgates for entrepreneurs that want to stand out in this crazy, insane market with doing this stage leader program.
Okay, I love this because the way that I did it is not quote unquote the way. I don't really believe that in entrepreneurship there's one right or wrong way to do anything. I really feel like there is
Yeah.
a zillion ways. And if there's
Yeah.
anybody on the internet that's like, there is only one way you can do this
Yeah.
thing, just swipe left or like the other way. Just go in a different direction because I truly believe that when it comes to creating the life that you want, you have to do it in a way that works for you.
Yeah.
So with speaking, it's interesting. My past, if you guys read the book or you know anything about my story, which we can chat about that later, but little sneak peek, I was an actress. And I always thought that my purpose on this planet was to perform on stages in like a traditional way where people would choose me and tell me I was good enough to say their lines and play characters. And I thought I was gonna be a forever waitress, just like trying to get my big break. And it's interesting because when I quit acting, and I say quit lightly, I became a somewhat successful actress, somewhat. It wasn't completely all the way of what I dreamt of, but I stopped and I ended up becoming an entrepreneur. And when I stopped, I was thinking about this morning. I said to my parents, they're like, "Are you sure you want to quit your dream?" And I was like, you know what? I'm going to end up on stage again. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I don't even know how I'm going to do it. But somehow, some way, I know for sure. I had such certainty, like 100% certainty, I will end up back on stage again. And I used to say, it's going to be a backdoor way. I don't know how, but it'll be a backdoor way. And then I became an entrepreneur, speaking came into my life, and it clicked. I got on a stage and I was like, holy crap, I can say my own words. I can help people at the same time and I can make so much more money and I can choose my own way. This is amazing. Can I do this all the time? And so
Yes.
I built a business that in the beginning we had a PR agency, and what I was using speaking for was I was using speaking to drive leads to that agency. So I
Hmm.
was making 7+ figures from speaking, not
Hmm.
directly, but indirectly.
Hmm.
So I learned
Hmm.
that entire side of speaking. There's a lot of different ways you can get paid for speaking. There's the indirect way like that. And then eventually I started to really work on my keynote to get it to a place, and my brand more importantly, but to get them both to a place where then I was getting paid to speak. So I did it my own way. And in Stage Leaders, I teach that way. We were talking about this earlier. I don't necessarily teach cold pitching. I teach about
Yeah.
relationship building. I teach about
Yeah.
building a brand. And I don't teach anything that I haven't actually done myself. So
Hmm.
I've done it wrong a lot. I've gotten a lot of rejection. I've done it right a few times. I've had enough mess ups to know that I can tell you, like, right off the bat, don't do this, or go ahead into it with this. And I wanted to just give back. I wanted to share with people everything that I learned on this journey, because I was getting so many questions. Jen, how did you do that? Like, how can I do it too? And I'm like, oh, I think that when your people ask you for something and it feels aligned, then you gotta do it. And so that's how
Yeah.
Leaders was born. And I'm so proud of
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I mean, I think I love the fact. So I compare this to like the job search, right? So back in the day, it was all about the job boards. You would apply to jobs on LinkedIn. Job candidates would find an opening, they had to apply to it. And then over time, what happened was it basically ended up going into a black hole where AI that's running through all these applications. And really, the only way to get a great job now is through building relationships, networking. It's usually going to be a personal introduction. And I think what happens to a lot of people is they get excited about wanting to speak. And then they realize that when you go the traditional route of just trying to like pitch, to speak, it's like you're going into a black hole. And I got a chance to listen to even just a couple minutes of one of the sessions that you did the other day. And by the way, I'll just share, I made some changes in my bio right away based on listening to your session. So there's immediate value just in the free sessions, guys, that Jen just delivered. And I think, how long are the replays going to be up for, Jen?
the
When do they
replay
come down?
Facebook group right until the day before we kickstart. So what is that? February? It's for about like a week.
Okay,
February
so
20th.
perfect. So I know there's some people that are here and listening live, and some people listening to the podcast that are already going through the sessions and have been, and that's amazing. If you're hearing this for the first time and you haven't been going through the sessions, definitely make the time to go through them. You'll start making changes and implementing things from what Jen's going over in the free sessions right away. So definitely be there for that. But I love the fact that this is probably why we connected right away and felt in alignment, because we teach a human forward approach to business. It's all about human connection, building relationships, adding value, and being of service. And now here you are. And I had no idea when I, first started talking to you that that was going to be your philosophy and approach. But I think for everyone here that follows my brand and listens to the show, that's what they're kind of seeking and searching for. Like, how do I build and network and find and create opportunities for speaking while building relationships and being of service? And I think you gave some strategies, right on the sessions to do that. But can you share any more just about, I mean, you're on the biggest stages in the world. Like, I don't know, for anyone that doesn't follow Jen, just go to her Instagram. I mean, if you just scroll through the stages that you've been on, like, your younger self had to have like not even believed that this was possible.
Well, my
Like,
younger self didn't know that motivational speaking was a thing, because if she
right.
did, she probably would have saved herself like a year and a half on tour, sleeping on a bus. She probably
Yes,
saved herself a
yes,
lot of time. But yes,
definitely.
so here's the thing. I want all of you guys to hack the system. And I'm
Yeah,
not a big believer of hacks, and
yeah,
like there's really no like secret pill that you can take that's gonna
100%. Yeah,
kickstart your career. However, there is a way to make it so that people are coming to you, that you're pulling rather
yeah,
than pushing. And that's with everything, not just with speaking. I believe that building your personal brand, which also just switch the word personal brand to reputation, building
yeah,
your reputation and your
yeah,
online virtual presence and showcasing aligned messaging and creating consistent content and building an audience on the internet will create an asset that will open up the most amazing opportunities for you. Because when people
yeah,
that you have an audience, that's an asset that they want. If you think about what event planners want, they want butts and seats at their event. They want their
yep,
event to be amazing and magical. They want to be able to brag to the world that they have really cool people on their
yeah,
stage. So
yeah,
how do you become a cool person that they want on their stage? You show up on social media, you show up on all the platforms, you show up in rooms, you show up in your conversations as a person that has aligned messaging that provides value and that's consistently being seen. And when you
Mhm.
create a personal brand, you create a flywheel. And so what I've done when you talk about my Instagram and you go and you say, look at her Instagram, she's speaking everywhere. That's very strategic. My
Yeah.
number one goal is to speak. So when you speak more if you
Yeah.
amplify. And we talk about this in Stage Leaders probably more than anything else. And if you're
Mhm.
like, well, wait, Jen, how do I amplify my stages and how do I get video of me speaking if I've never done it before? Well, that's when it gets a little bit uncomfortable. But I'm here
Mhm.
because I dared myself to be uncomfortable so many times. And it's easy to
Mhm.
be uncomfortable when you're doing it with a community. So I'll explain
Yeah.
really quick. If you don't have a stage to speak on yet, we all have a stage in our pocket. Every single one of
Mhm.
us can turn
Mhm.
on our camera and speak in front of an audience at any moment in time.
Mhm.
So I joke, but I don't. My entire keynote was built on Instagram Lives.
Yeah.
I do Instagram Lives every single morning where I put my makeup on and I talk to my audience and I tell stories, and the stories that they like, I stick in my keynote, and the stories that they don't, I hit the road with them. So
Mhm.
there's all kinds of different ways to practice being seen and to practice being on stage and create content for your brand. And I don't want you guys to have to figure that out by yourself. And I don't want you to have to do it alone because it can be scary. It can be
Yeah.
uncomfortable. It can be debilitating sometimes. I
Yeah.
would sit there by myself. This was a couple of years ago and just like wait to press the button. Maybe it'll feel easier in 2 minutes from now. I'm going to go get a snack. Maybe
Yeah.
5 minutes from now. Maybe I'll feel a little bit more ready
Yeah.
tomorrow. You're never going to be
Yeah.
ready. But
Yeah.
I've created this community. And so now everybody's supporting one another as they practice. You'll see when you're in there, Kelly,
Yeah.
you're absolutely love just being so supportive as you step into kind of unknown territory.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the big thing, right, is, for me, running a portfolio of companies, having a large team, homeschooling my daughter, like managing the home, like all the things, right? I'm not in a place in my life where I'm going to just go randomly figure something out. I'm going to find the best person that already figured it out. And I'm going to be like, yeah, my team and myself will still have to do the work, but we will have an exact roadmap of what to do, how to do it, when to do it. By the time I'm done going through the series, my presentation, my signature will be done. And what really excited me, Jen, actually, so okay, I don't want to mention that yet. I'm going to save that for a second.
Yeah.
I would love for you to run through the steps of what people will complete, which was huge for me because I'm like, let's just get this done. I don't have time. I would love for you to run through the steps of what they will complete. And then I want to talk about when we're going to be together because I think that's huge for people.
When we're going to be together in person. Yes. Okay, cool. So I'll tell you what stage leaders with the
Yeah.
experience do. And here's the
Yeah.
thing. I've done like so many courses and masterminds and programs. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on every mastermind and mentorship program that you can imagine. Loved a lot of them. A lot of them got me to where I am today and hated a lot of them too. And was just
Mhm.
like, whatever. And then that I also just didn't finish. So
Yeah.
I took the best pieces of what I liked and what actually worked as
Yeah.
far as designing like a curriculum for this program, and I let go of the rest. And the cool thing is that this is taught live, so I pivot. If you guys need more of something, I add a little bit more of that in. And I like to throw in surprise bonus calls where some of my really cool friends like to hop on, like event planners or major, mega, huge speakers or bookers, really cool people. My
Mhm.
stylist hopped on last time to talk about clothes for speaking. We have
Mhm.
a blast, but let's go through the curriculum really quick.
Yeah.
Week one is all about messaging. And this is unbelievably important because I don't care if you want to speak on a real in-person stage or you want to do a podcast or you a panel or go to a dinner party. You
Mhm.
need to be able to walk into a room and introduce yourself and share about who you are and what you do in a way that doesn't make people zone out. Meaning,
Mhm.
don't trail off and talk about all the 85,000 things
Yeah.
that you did. And I know that that's a struggle for most people. I did a session yesterday with a group and we spent the entire session just working out core story formula, which is a 3-part system, which you'll learn in stage leaders of how to share where you were, what happened and how you got to where you are in like 2 minutes so
Yeah.
that you can walk into a room and be like, hi, I'm Kelly Roach. This is what I do. And this is how I got here. And we dial that in week one. You'll have that signed, sealed, delivered, done, ready. And at the end of each week, we do a little performance assignment so that everybody is held accountable to making their video and perfecting their thing so that by the time we're done, you did it.
Mhm.
I want you to have it all done by the end. It's not like I'm going to go back and finish it later. You got to get it done. And then module 2 is the first part of developing your signature keynote. So over 2 weeks, we'll learn the Story Mansion Blueprint. And this is my framework for putting together a keynote that you can kind of plug and play with. You can put stories in, remove stories, make it longer, make it shorter, but it always has a very similar through line, a similar heartbeat, but you can change it for, let's say you're speaking for a group of real estate investors, and then the next day you're speaking to a group of mompreneurs. You can take that same keynote and you can just shift it a tiny bit. So you don't have to completely re-rehearse, rebuild a keynote. It's very moldable. And so over 2 weeks, we're building out our Story Mansion blueprints. We're pulling out all the stories, we're banking them, we're linking them to frequently asked questions. You will have, and the reason we do this in week 3 and 4 is because I want to have the entire rest of the time to be working on that in the background with all the rest of the stuff that we learn. Then 4 is stage presence, leading from the stage with confidence. And everything that I learned over my million years of acting and million lifetimes, I feel like I've just been a performer since I came out of my mom's womb. But I went to musical theater school in college. I went in New York City, I studied musical theater. So I've learned a little bit about commanding the stage. And also like how to embrace your nerves, what to do before a talk, after a talk, do's and don'ts of tech stuff, the things that they don't tell you that I have had crash and burn for me that I just want to shout from the rooftops for you to not experience. So we're going to go through all of the stage presence stuff, all of the preparation stuff. And then we're going to do creating opportunities in module 5. And that's really about the relationship building, Kelly. You're so good at this. And when it comes to, we talked about this yesterday in the Get Paid to Speak challenge, and I'm obsessed with the warm pitch, not the cold pitch. I'm obsessed with building the relationships first, so much so they're like, can you send me your stuff? And then you have something amazing to send them. So we will build warm pitches together and have all the assets. Week 6, we go into being seen as a stage leader. That's about developing your stage leader brand, your speaker brand. And so, we have been building personal brands over at our company, Super Connector Media, for years. We've helped over 50,000 people build personal brands. So we're going to dial in social media strategy, YouTube strategy, podcast strategy, panel strategy, fireside chat strategy, everything that you need to be able to have aligned messaging on all platforms. And then 7, we're going to go into selling from stage. And even if you have never sold from stage before or you never intend to, I believe that if you can fall in love with selling and you're able to communicate your idea and get an audience bought in, you will have a superpower that most people won't have. So I teach my signature framework that I use, and I've sold over 8 figures from stage in my career. And I'm going to teach that. I just pull back the curtain and I let you in on it. And we teach another framework that will get you to be able to sell from stage. And then week 8, we tie it all together. We make sure everything is tied in a bow. You've got everything that you need throughout the time. We're all communicating in our platform, everybody's supporting one another. And then we all go to an in-person experience in Orlando if you are in the icon level, but people will see that when they get to the page. It's the second level. And that's an epic experience where everybody gets to get on stage, workshop with me. We have a guest speaker that comes in. We do a pitch tank, headshots. It's insane.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So a couple things that I want to share. So for people that are watching live right now, Ignacio is going to put a link in the chat for our affiliates. We're supporting Jen with this because I'm doing it, because I believe in it. And I'm inviting you to come along in the journey with me. I'm doing the icon level, which means I will be at the live experience in Orlando. I want to see all of you there. And I'm going to be offering 2 things for people in my audience that decide to join us that want to come on the journey with me. I'm pulling the curtain back. I've never pursued speaking. I told Jen this. I'm like, I do, maybe 2 speaking engagements a year and I do my own stuff, right? Because I just didn't want to travel and be away from Madison. Madison's homeschooling now. So she's coming to all sorts of events with me. And so come along the journey with me. So if you do the lower tier, that is the kind of, we'll call it digital. What's the lower tier, Jen?
It's called Impact. So that's what
Impact. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who does either level is going to get 3 months of follow-up co-working sessions with myself and the team to take what we learned together, and we're all going to implement. We are going to take everything that Jen is teaching us and we're going to keep that going. So after we learn it, we're going to put it together. We're all going to take action together. Okay. So if you're listening to this podcast today or you're here live and you're kind of like me, where you're like, I know I should be on stages, I haven't been doing it and I have no idea what I'm doing. And maybe you don't want to spend 2 years of your life and waste 50 grand trying to figure it out. Come do it with me and we'll do it together. And then when we're done going through the program together, then we'll co-work it and we'll take action together. So 3 months of co-working sessions following. if you do either level. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And Jen, I just appreciate you sending the elevator back down. It's really cool that you've had the success that you have, and now you're sharing that and helping other people to open those doors too. So really, really great stuff. Thank you guys for being here live with us, and thanks for tuning into the Kelly Roach Show. Jen, thanks for everything you're doing, and I'll see you all back here soon. Bye.